The post-Cold War era. The African continent, on the most part, belonged to the non-aligned movement under the former Organization of African Unity, AOU, but individual countries had loyalties divided along the Cold War lines. The Cold War divide lasted only until the Communist Eastern Bloc of Nations Union crumbled, symbolically ending with the collapse of the Berlin Wall that divided Western and Eastern Germany. With the end of the Cold War, Africa's hopes as a result of dependence on the Eastern Bloc were dashed. The next phase of the African Renaissance happened almost immediately in the post-Cold War era. This period was marked by a new international order dictated by the dominance of multilateral organizations in the affairs of recipient African countries. There entered multilateral lenders, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The African leaders subjected their economies to structural adjustment programs, SAPs, prescribed by the multilateral institutions. Under extremely stringent measures, a one-size-fits-all economic remedy was the prescription to reverse and correct structural deficiencies in African economies. The Structural Adjustment Program was meant for African governments to downsize their civil service, cut subsidies to local farmers' education, health, and transportation. The impact of the removal of subsidies was almost immediate. Staple food prices spiked as the output of farmers began to fall due to a high cost of inputs due to the removal of subsidies, leading to food shortages. Retrenchment packages of laid-off civil servants ran out, and the high cost of living made it hard for the citizens to access basic services such as education for their children, healthcare, and infrastructural facilities. From independence, most African countries adopted socialist philosophies of governance, and development models were tailored after the Eastern Bloc with centralized economic planning and power concentration. On the flip side, SAPs were Western-style economic systems. SAPs required devolution of power from the center and the release of innovative energies of the people to achieve their utmost potential. In spite of SAP's best intentions, most of the implementers were lost in the new environment. They were trying to develop a new model and culture of business. By the same token, the people the policies were intended appeared confused with the process and the goals of the program. Further, the structural adjustment programs were not properly thought through, and their management lacked expertise and the technical know-how. The impact on citizens was negative. For instance, most civil servants who had used their retrenchment packages to start their own businesses crashed. They neither had the mindset nor experience in private sector management and in the dictates of a competitive free market. These conditions resulted in unrest all around and became the festering ground for the perpetuation of military governments through coup d'etats. Many countries of Africa now have turned to constitutional rule and holding elections and respecting the results in ways that have been certified as free and fair by the international community. Africa's statesmen have gone a step further by taking their own initiative in resolving raging conflicts in countries such as Kenya, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, and turning them around into viable functioning states. The former Secretary General of the United Nations, in the person of Kofi Annan, a native of Ghana, was exemplary in this regard.